off that based on whether you sway, whether you obviously fall over or fall down, or any of your routine is upset like that. Right. So here are our competitors now. I can tell you now we've got about 43 competitors in the Daoshu tournament. And so each of those, and it really is being the World Championships. I said I haven't actually counted these up, but I'm just looking at the list now. And there's just at least 20, maybe 30 I can see just offhand right now. But it is great to see on the world stage, believe it or not, of the 240 odd countries in the world, there are Wushu federations, as I know it, in round about 200. It is, as I was talking to Anthony, almost a secret sport that has been, you know, within yourselves, but now thanks to live streaming technology and of course the Wushu Championships itself, it's getting far more recognition. Now our first competitor up is from Canada, Eric Anthony Long. Any background on Eric?
So this is his first attempt at the world stage. We don't know too much about him. He had defaulted in the Changchun event, so this will be his first event of the tournament.
Right, so probably a bit of nerves, but when I say that, I do mean, of course, that these are the most highly trained martial artists, and I think we were talking about this yesterday. You put in a lot of hours every week, 6 times a week, for this 1 minute 20 routine when you stand in front of these judges. So it really does come down to it. Of course, injury is a factor when you're using your body in such incredible ways, and of course all of it as well. This is not just a leg sport, it's not just an arm sport.
It's a whole body sport.
Yeah, it's entire body. You can just see Eric just limbering up. Any tricks or tips as to how you limber up? You can see him just circling his foot here.
Everyone has their own ways of relaxing. Some people, you know, swing their arms and their hips, but generally, once you're up there, you're ready to go. You can see him just getting his dexterity down with his legs.
Of course, they would have been training earlier on as well. We have been seeing them on the mats training before, which was a sight in itself. So I think Eric is just about ready now. The judges look just about ready, and we are just about good to go with the men's Daoshu. And just quickly, I'll remind you that on mat 2, being watched by Mario Martinez and Alan Tang, is the women's Nanquan. That'll be followed by the men's Nangun. That's the staff. And we'll get you the winning medal ceremonies after all this, of course. You can just see on the top of your screen that mat has already kicked off with women's Nanquan. And that scream you heard was the release shout, right?
Yep, that's called a fa sang.
Fa sang, that's right. Fa sang, sorry. So, the official start to the men's Daoshu at the 14th World Wushu Championships in Kazan, Russia. Eric Anthony Leong from Canada steps onto the mat. And once again, as you were saying, Anthony, just keeping that blade close to the body.
540 jump outside landing. Nice. 540 jump inside.
Spending a lot of time in the air in the early part of his routine. Oh, great landing there. Just in the run-up to that move, just looked like he coiled up a little bit. You were talking about the full extension of the blade and the arm. Of course, getting all that momentum from within the body to the tip of that Dao. Wonderfully spectacular.
Now, I was saying, the harmony is very important between the body and the weapon. You have to treat the weapon like it's part of your own.
It's an extension of your actual arm, yeah. And some of the familiar stances from Wushu are, of course, required, not specifically for the routines, but mainly for stability and mainly to really express yourself. So that's our first routine. What did you think of it, all in all?
Very sharp for the first competitor of the day. Very solid jumps. You'll see in this replay. He's got a lot of control when it comes to his rotation.
Is that confidence that you're looking for to express the style? So a good solid performance from Eric Anthony Leung from Canada. Always the hardest to lead off the pack, really. But in the same way, it is just as hard if you're at the end of the pack and you, of course, know the benchmarks that have already been set. And he looks up to the scoreboard now, and the judges will be posting up their first result from the men's Daoshu.
Now, Jeevan, when you start watching these jumps, these difficulty movements being thrown, it's very important to count the number of steps. Most of these athletes, especially the long fist style athletes, have to do their jumps within 4 steps. If they do more than 4 steps, it nullifies your whole difficulty. Doesn't matter if you made the rotation and made the landing.
Footwork ever so important. Leg techniques and, of course, that extension of the entire body, the entire form as well. And that's how you communicate to the judges that you are, one, in charge of the style, you know the style, and your confidence level as well. No real mistakes from Eric. As I said, just in one of those runs as he was going past us, I did see him just kind of well up, but it was within the movement. So,
right, and even for one of his run-up steps after the butterfly twist, that's why I mentioned it. His steps might have been, he might have added another 2 more steps, which would have
definitely been noticed.
Taken away his 0.45.
And immediately, of course, wherever you are watching in the world, you can see exactly what I meant about micro-analysis. Every step makes a difference. I think I said yesterday, the term is you can't put a foot wrong. Well, here it's you can't put a foot, arm, leg, neck, head. Just pick any part of the body and that can't be wrong.
And the judges are strategically placed just so it covers every part of the floor. You'll see it, the judges, it goes ACB, ACB multiple times.
Right.
So there's every angle covered. Looks like he just looked at the wrong score from the other mat.
I think it was for a second thought. Now, of course, the other mat, there was a 7.55. He thought that was possibly a score. A little bit of discussion going on the judges' table, I think, with one of their monitors, and that's why there is a slight delay in this opening score. And that looks to be rectified now. Still waiting for Eric Anthony Leung's score. There is a lot of technical requirements. Of course, there are 3 cameras watching the mat, and these aren't broadcast cameras. These are actually cameras to record the routine for the judges. As you can imagine, having that micro-analysis means you do need those cameras. 8.97 is the final score, and I'm sure he's going to be happy with that. That's a good score to open up proceedings with.
Looks like he missed his first 2 jumps. 0.45 deduction.
So up on the mat now, competitor number 2 from Iran, Amir Mohammad Rezi.
So he placed 9.1 in long fist just yesterday, so he's still a strong contender.
We did see him on the Chanchuan mat. And he gets into his routine. Great landing there.
Nice jump outside 540.
Well, we did see Amir, as you said, in the long fist competition yesterday. He's looking a little bit more confident here.
Definitely a venue to make your explosive power shine. While the thrusting, the quick slashing.
It's just the intricacy of movement that just literally blows me away when I... The tumble.
And there it is, another gainer. Again, not something you see in this routine usually. That's usually reserved for the southern styles. But the way he landed was more of a tumble.
That's a very interesting point you brought up, the fact that these are optional routines. There's another class which is compulsory where the judges would set a specific sequence of movements that the competitors would have to follow. In optional routines, you are allowed to bring in other styles if you need to. Of course, your main priority has to be to express Daoshu, but if you can impress the judges, then that will be part of your choreography and overall performance.
That's right. Some athletes will accentuate their style by adding something else, very similar, but shows you their capability and knowledge of something else.
Yeah. And just looking at the replay.
Final score 9.30.
9.30. So we've started with some high scores, and that means, of course, that Amir is going to be ranked 1. I wonder if the rest of the competitors have thought, wow, that's a pretty high score just to kick off anyway.
It looks like he's completed his C scores. He had 2 deductions, one for a splits and one for having a low kick.
So here's Hibiki Beto, who we also saw in the long fist Nanquan yesterday.
He placed 5th in Changchuan, really close. This will be his first time at the adult level. He's competed in the World Junior Wushu Championships last year, and placed a gold in staff and long fist.
So 2 styles as a junior gold winner, and now up on the world stage. I'd like to say an up-and-comer at Wushu, but of course it is a lifetime of practicing it. So it really is about one person just getting that style. Oh, falls back. Always important just to keep moving with your routine.
Very nice splits.
And just like long fist, where you can almost hear the power, you can just hear the flailing of that Dao. Great control of the sword there. Well, it's a real shame about that initial opening jump, because the rest of his routine has been pretty solid.
It just takes one mistake at this level to drop you down. Again, we earlier said he was in 5th. This could drop him below that.
Well, he's definitely going to be thinking about that one jump. The rest of it was great. Hibiki Beto from Japan. And this is bound to be that. There you go, that little stumble back.
So each step is a deduction each time. So he lost the deduction. He got deduction for the stance work and then 2 steps back. That would cost him 0.3 right there.
And 0.3 can make all the difference, especially when a 9.30 has already been set.
And that's in terms of the A scoring. He actually lost 0.45 from the C judges. So
he awaits 9.18, even with that missed jump. So imagine what that could have been. And he just not stumbled back. 9.18 for Japan. That puts him into rank number 2. Currently silver medal, but as I said, we still have 40-odd competitors to come. And up next on the mat, somebody else that we saw in long fist yesterday, Luis Alberto Ferrichure de Jesus from Mexico.
Very controlled jump right there.
Well, he's stated one of his goals is being within the world's top 20. This is definitely the stage to do that. I'm sure it's coming to a lot of surprise to a lot of people that Mexico has Wushu exponents, but as I said, so many countries do. So for Luis Alberto, it is about representing the nation, as well as hopefully causing a headline or two. Wow, nice display from Luis Alberto. Looking at that replay now.
It's a good setup into that jump inside. Now, one thing that's what people don't realize is the coordination of the left arm actually has to match the sword. And that's where a lot of judges will be watching.
Right. Yeah, I can just see that line there has to be. Oh, 9.21, and he's very happy with that, as we said. Well, I have to say, Anthony, we've seen an 8.97, a 9.3, a 9.18, a 9.21 in the first 4 competitors so far. And now there's going to be a huge response to one of the hometown athletes. Well, not hometown, but home athletes. Russia's Ilyas Kusnudinov. Also was in the long fist competition. Don't forget that one of his teammates actually picked up bronze in that, Pavel Muratov. And as expected, the crowds going wild with every slash and every...
That was a very nice
a great landing.
Jump inside 540. See, he saw a lot of airtime coming down. Also, very nice 540 jump outside.
Just noticing his footwork as well. It was 3 steps and 3 steps.
Very controlled. You can see his posture when he jumps into the air. He has full control.
Very important to get your back and your spine in the right place if you're going to keep control of all these, all this motion, all these forces.
Looks like he's completed all his difficult movements, so you should see a lot of fast movements, quick combinations just to finish off.
Wow.
Back layout right there.
And the crowd are absolutely loving this. And Ilyas seems to be feeding off that energy that's coming off them. The empty stance there.
Very solid performance.
Great performance from Ilyas Kusnudinov. Can be proud of that. And I'll tell you one thing, if he has managed to hit the 9 club, and 3 out of 4 fighters so far have, then there is going to be a huge cheer from the crowd.
There is his jump inside. You'll see his posture in the air. Very linear.
And there's that, as you said before, that blade literally just moving around the body. 9.55, unbelievable stuff. So, Russia currently ranked 1 in the men's Daoshu.
At the number 6, and Bulgaria.
Now, this could be interesting because Chen Mingwang has, from Chinese Taipei, was one of the
8 competitors of the first Taolu World Cup. He placed second in this event, so we're expected to see some great performance from him.
And 2 years ago in the men's Daoshu, he scored a 9.53 and was ranked 5th. 9.64 in Qiangshu and a 9.55 in long fist as well. So very experienced. That was in Jakarta 2 years ago. Oh, great
Very
speed.
Combination there. Very high jumper. Also lost control.
Oh, that's just very solid.
Very good rhythm. You see,
Yeah.
transition between a lot of fast and slow movements. That can actually accentuate your speed.
I think that's the exact word I was looking for. Accentuate makes all the difference.
Oh, and we've seen this combination in his long fist.
Yep. Well, Chen Mingwang absolutely not fazed by the competitors that have come up before him and have already set. Men's Daoshu is a very competitive competition.
And these competitors will definitely have different styles or throw out special movements that would mark them very unique to the
signature.
judges.
Yeah. Well, as he finishes off his routine, he'll be very happy with that. And as we look at the replay, any significant deductions or?
You know, I did not catch any deductions.
Well, let's just see what the judges had to say. That was fantastic.
Yep.
That was really good.
Very similar to Amir's signature movement.
9.59. We have a new leader, which means our current ranking, even based on the first 6 athletes that we've seen, is Chen Mingwang in the gold medal position as of now. You've got Ilyas Kuznetsov from Russia in second with 9.55, and you've got Amir Mohammad Rezai from Iran in third with the 9.30. So you're going to need a 9.30 to break in the medals right now. And this is Norlens Adi Katoliko from the Philippines. Oh, we've seen some great aerials and some great landings so far. Slightly different routine here from Norlens. Definitely a different rhythm for sure. There's that butterfly that moves. There's that full extension you were talking about.
He's got a lot of rhythm in his routine.
Well, he can be proud of that. Let's see what the judges had to say. Nolens Ardi Catolico from the Philippines. And it's just really the pure athleticism of it. I think we saw it also in the long fist tournament yesterday. 9.38, it's another 9. And that is actually going to get him 3rd spot as of now. So up next we have Seongjae Cho. Now I know that you're a big fan of Seongjae Cho, but also silver medalist in the last 2 World Championships.
That's correct. And in both of those, yeah, 2nd place and 3rd place in the staff. So we're expecting to see really sharp performance. Nice 540.
And again. It's compact, it's solid, but at the same time it's powerful, and it's got all that energy just coursing through, not just the body, but through the blade as well.
Very, very great explosive power here.
I love the rhythm just hanging in the air, just in those 3 moments. Well, so far he seems to be just as comfortable on the mat, in his stances, in the air. Solid stuff again. Easy to see why he is finished so high up in the medals beforehand. And I wonder if we're going to see yet another medal contention score.
You see as he do these replays, as he goes through his jumps, how very relaxed he is. It's important to stay relaxed.
Yeah.
These jumps, otherwise you expend too much energy.
But at the same time, you have to almost relax your thought, I'm expecting, because if you think too much about it, that's really going to show up in your body movement as well. So, especially in those jumps, I'm assuming that you have to get into it. And you have to 9.62. Well, well, well. Now that has literally upped the bar, as Seongjae Cho is now ranked 1. Chen Mingwang would be in 2nd from Chinese Taipei with 9.59, and that means 9.55 from Ilyas Kuznetsov is the 3rd place. It's just getting higher and higher in terms of the bar.
And here we have from Belgium, Renato Bayo.
From La Louvière in Belgium, 32 years old. Gold at the Belgian Wushu Championships in 2004 and 2006. And from the period of 2002-2008 in Chanchuan, Daoshu and Gunshu, 41 medals, 18 gold. The best of the best here in Kazan, Russia for the 14th World Wushu Championships. This is day 2 if you're just joining us. Men's Daoshu. And it's ever so important that that blade follows your body movements. Well, a couple of stumbles there forward. And at this level of competition, that's pretty much cost him a great deal already.
The empty stance was a little bit high. Now, like long fist, there are 3 required stance work, and it's the bow stance, the empty stance, and the drop stance. And also, we just saw him kind of go out of the carpet right there. That will cost him greatly.
Oh, wow, that's a big mistake, and that's definitely going to take him out the running.
And when you put 2 hands down instead of 1, that's considered a body fall. So that's a 0.3 deduction instead of a 0.2.
So, Renato Bayo from Belgium has a few things to think about in the beginning, middle, and end of that routine. Mistakes creeping in. And as we said with long fist as well, when your body is moving in such speed, you're trying to control these forces. Momentum and gravity especially, obviously. And that was the big fall at the end. So the complete body fall means most probably we can suspect that he's going to be out of the medals as they stand now. Of course, still a lot more contestants. I can tell you the next contestant up on the mat is going to be another one to look out for. Six straight for. And as we look at those deductions, there was a great many in the end.
It looks like he's a lot of stance work issues, as you can see earlier in some of the poses. The thigh has to be at a horizontal level.
Final score 8.41.
And then we see he missed a lot of his seed difficulties.
Now this is Yonghyun Lee, another of the Korean team.
And in Songtren just yesterday, he scored a 9.48, and this will be his 2nd World Wushu Championships.
That was an unbelievable performance from him yesterday as well, you're right. Strong again from Korea.
Very controlled jumps.
And there's that explosive power you can just see.
A lot of quick aerial movements.
And fluidly transitioning into the next moves.
And there's his signature move. Now, while fast, you do sacrifice a little bit in terms of precision.
Yeah.
See, some of his thrusting was a little bit off angle.
Can be the slightest of angles that makes a difference. So finishes with a flurry.
Very confident finish. Looks happy with his performance.
And there's those.
That was a 720. The first we've seen today.
Final score 8.37.
And there's that signature move you're talking about.
I think number 13.
Just even landing like that and knowing you're going to land like that is pretty amazing stuff. Now waits patiently. Now as we wait for what could be a very good score, of course it is a high bar that's already been set. 9.55 has got to be the minimum if you want to get into the medals already, and there's only been, this is our 10th competitor. And don't forget that if you do want to catch up with any of the other competitions that are going on, then just check out the IWUF YouTube channel. Mario Martinez and Alan Tang on mat 2. And they're currently watching the women's Nanquan. 9.60 will get him in there. So now 2 Korean athletes up at the top. Seong Chae-jo with 9.62 and Younghyun Lee with 9.60, and that would make Chen Ming Wang now in the bronze medal position from Taipei with a 9.59. So it keeps going up, Anthony, all the time.
Now we have Mario Sanchez Martinez from Spain,
who's also in the long fist tournament yesterday.
Jump outside 540. Looks like this.
Good solid landing as well. Showing good control. And I can see what you mean about harmonization. I can see what you mean about sometimes it looks more like the body is taking the lead and the weapon is just there, as opposed to
the weapon leading you.
Yeah.
Exactly.
This is the first of the 4 great weapons of Wushu that we've had the honor of watching. The Dao is the broadsword, the Jan is the double-edged straight sword, the Xiang is the staff, which we'll be actually watching later on after this, and the Gun is, well, so the Xiang is a spear and the Gun is a staff.
I don't know if you noticed the combination just earlier, he switched the blade to his left hand. He's doing it again.
Yeah.
That just shows his control of his weapon.
I think it was you know, good enough that I actually didn't see that happening at the time. So, solid stuff from Mario Sanchez Martinez. Now, of course, Anthony, you have been a Daoshu exponent as well before. When you're on that mat, when you're doing this, is it a question of really keeping aware, or just maintaining that, of just trusting your training and going through the routine as you know?
It's definitely about trusting your training, and you're basically building your self-conscious every time you practice. And then when you go to competition, you just let that go and let it take over.
Yep. So now we have
8.67 for Mario Martinez.
Yeah, and this is Boudadad Yassine from Algeria, who we also saw in long fist. And it is not uncommon to see Wushu exponents having 1 or 2 more styles. We're going to see if Boudadad is more comfortable with the Dao than he was with the bare fist technique of Chan Chuan.
That was a 540 jump outside. Looks a little short. And that was 360 jump inside. Looks like he took an extra step.
Yeah.
That may not count. And then
a bit of a bent leg on the landing there. Tracing the sword nicely around his body. As we said earlier, in the style itself, that is both a defensive and offensive. It plays a defense and attack role.
Layout. Looks like he lost a little control towards the end.
Yeah, definitely a bit shaky there.
And Jeevan, I don't know if you noticed, he's done the jump inside kick 3 times with a 360. You're only allowed to do that jump with that rotation twice with 2 different endings. So he just used another ending. That won't not get counted.
Well, that is the end of his routine. Boudadad Yassine from Algeria. Once again, it's great to see Algeria on the World Wushu stage.
And looking at his replay, he has really good sword work, but it wasn't enough when it came to his degree of difficulties.
And that was
a little short right there.
Yeah. So he's got himself a 7.30. And it's nothing to really be concerned about. As I said, one of the main aspects is actually having Algeria on the world stage, and I'm sure that he's going to be very happy with that. And it's more of a personal benchmark than anything else. And this is Edgar Xavier Marvelo from Indonesia.
I believe this is his first competition at this level.
Oh, look at the power in that, yeah.
Jump outside 540.
Nice wide stance on the landing as well.
That was a 720 jump inside. Looks like he was a little short. The judges actually do not favor if you wait a little too long before your jump. There's less harmony in a composition.
Oh, he's very comfortable with them. Just loving his spirit. You can really see it coming out.
So there's also a sacrifice in those fast movements. There's a chance you can hit yourself, and it looks like he kind of touched his body with his weapon. That was an aerial 360. Very difficult move to put towards the end of your form. Definitely a very athletic routine.
Vigorous. It was vigorous, for sure. Edgar Xavier Marvelo, representing Indonesia.
Here it is, his 720. Looks like it was about 20 degrees short.
I mean, even just thinking about the mechanics of a 720 spin in the air, even for most gymnasts without a weapon, that's hard enough.
And keep in mind, there's no springboards underneath the carpet.
Exactly. So these are essentially straight off the turf, if you could put it that way. 9.68 for Edgar Xavier Marvelo. He's up there, and that's, in fact, our highest so far. So he's ousted the two Koreans of Songjae Cho and Yong Kyun Lee. But that also means that the bronze medal has just gone up to 9.60 now. And as I said, there's still about 30 competitors left to go. So high-end stuff. And here is Yi Xiang-yong from Singapore. Oh, what a wonderful start from Yi Xiang.
540 jumping outside. And then a 360.
So important to make sure you are aware of where your hands are. They are. If it was a bare fist technique, as I said, you could possibly, but just having that sword with its, pointing the wrong way. As you said, will accentuate whether it's well done or whether it's not.
Side stretch kick, very nice.
Landing into your rest stance.
There's a finishing drop stance.
And that brings him to the end of his routine. The bar is very, very high already.
Also a very solid performance. You can tell he's very controlled in there. Here's his first landing. His horse stance is maybe a little bit close, but the angle of the foot has to be parallel.
Final score 9.4.
9.40. Now I'm just going to do a quick calculation.
At the number 16.
Of the 15 competitors that we've seen so far, 10 of them have hit 9. So high level of competition indeed. And this would be Se Hong Lao from Hong Kong.
Also a very strong competitor.
Yep.
Just placed 8th.
Put in a good performance on long fist yesterday. And there's that 540, yeah.
Weapon switch in the air. Very nice.
Yep. Nicely traced around the body there. Great extension.
Very nice butterfly. Lots of air.
Slowed the rhythm slightly as well in the middle of it.
A lot of coils right there.
It's that coiling movement where you could touch your body. It's not quite. And it ends with that strong flourish. So, Se Hong Lao from Hong Kong. And the great thing about, of course, having scores like this with 10 of the first 15 competitors hitting 9 is that it's gonna really pump you up before you get into your performance. If you know what you're gonna do, if your routine or your form, if you know what you're gonna do, it's just that extra bit, knowing where that competition is. And there is another one. So that stat.
9.44. Looks like he got deducted for kicking height during one of his difficult movements.
And it's that C panel, those difficulty movements, that really can make all the difference.
Now this is Xuan Hiep Tran from Vietnam.
From Vietnam, that's right. Xuan Hiep Tran.
Competed at the last 5 World Wushu Championships. Now he's placed first in this event about 4 years ago. That was a jump outside 720. Very nice controlled.
Good speed there is, yep.
was a very confident routine.
Yep. Vietnam have already been showing their mettle, both in day 1 and now here for men's Daoshu in day 2. Of course, with that bar being set at the bronze at 9.60, you're going to need a good performance. But no real mistakes there.
Very controlled with the sword, keeps it very close to his body.
Final score 9.47.
And it's another 9.47, so high quality action. And talking of high quality action, well, we have a Chinese athlete up next, Zifeng Li.
National champion 2016.
This could be something very, very special indeed.
Well, knowing the Chinese athletes, they're known to do all the sea-level difficulties, so we should expect to see some 720s.
And once again, look at that crisp expression.
Very high.
Oh, how about that? 720 with a split landing.
540, step outside. He went a little further into his 630.
Great stuff. Great sword work.
A very nice throw kick. Aerial 360 in the tumble.
And a very low stance there as well. What a performance. What a routine. And a little sword switch
very
there from the hands, just at the end. And we've been talking about what a high bar. Well, that was really clinical stuff.
Very nice footwork that combined with his upper body.
Well,
was that 720?
Yeah, there was that footwork, there was the aerials, it just really showed the respect for the style as you're doing it when you propagate it like that. So we wait for Zifeng Li, and this could be a very high score indeed. And that's taken to 9.72. That is clearly the gold medal at the moment. Now that, of course, pushes up the other medals as well. Edgar Xavier Marvelo from Indonesia is now in second with a 9.68. And Seong-jae Cho's 9.62 is now the third. And that's what Mexico's Daniel Narvaez Gomez, who's also part of Long Fist yesterday, has got to aim for. A 9.62 or better if you want to make the medals at this current state. We're still not even halfway through the competitor list yet. Well, that was a nice little shuffle of the sword, or the Dao, I should say.
540 jump inside.
And again, yeah. The weapon switch. That's good sword work.
Very nice directional change. Aerial 360. A little stumble there.
Yeah, tiny stumble, just in the middle of it.
Again, a very challenging move to throw towards the end of your routine. Most athletes would try to put it in the first 2 sections.
Right.
Empty stance on the left leg.
Oh, some interesting points in that form. If you look at the highlights of it now. What was that? Hand switch with the weapon.
There it is. Extra
Yep.
step.
Final score 9.00.
So Daniel Navarez Gomez from Mexico. And a good solid performance. But will it be enough? 9.62 or more needed to get into medal contention. And that barrier currently is filled by Seongjae Cho from Korea. Just contemplating. So much for them to think about. And of course, such fast movements as well. It is quite incredible.
One thing that was really good about Daniel Gomez's performance was the fact that his eyes will fall to his sword. And that's very important. You have to be able to look at where you're actually attacking.
Yeah. Because these forms, I said, if for the people that are new to Wushu that are currently watching this, these forms are essentially played in their heads against opponents, imaginary opponents. So you do need to have that point of attack and that focus as well. And on top of that, you need to have the momentum and the power and energy from within you going through your hand into the sword.
Martial intent is crucial in the for the high level, for a high B score, which is the overall performance.
That's what it's all about. It's also great to see. You may have just got a shot of it just there, but some of the other teams just sitting around the arena. I think you can just see Luis Alberto behind in the Mexican team. And in fact, if I'm right, that's Ilias Kuznetsov as well up there. So
yeah, looks like.
Daniel awaits his score. As you can see on the other mat right now, the men's Nanquan. Mario Martinez and Alan Tang, as I said, 7.94 in the end. Quite a few deductions.
Looks like most of his deductions were based off of his C difficulties. He got a 0.7 total score on his C difficulties.
So as we said, it's a very high bar indeed. So this would be Nesta Uzanqui Mila from Spain. And he was ranked first in Qiangshu, the national championships in 2017, 9.23. And also a Chanchuan and, well, as I said, Qiangshu exponent. Simple goal for Nesta. He wants to become as good as he possibly can. Can't get more honest than that.
Jump outside 540.
Yes, tracing that Dao very nicely around his body.
Weapon switch in his hand. There he goes again. Very nice.
A tiny bit shaky there, yeah.
Butterfly twist.
Do you think that looked a little bit low? Do you think you need to be a bit higher on that?
In terms of that jump, it has to be executed in the air, and the body has to be 45 degrees. So you're right. He was a little bit more than 45 degrees. Yeah. That might have cost him that movement.
Of course, he's a big fella. He's a big lad. We were talking about body dynamics yesterday in Chanchuan. You have to readjust your body to make these moves work, because there will be no leniency given just because you're tall or just because you're short or because you're bigger. You have to express the style. That was a great switch there.
It looks like he kind of cut himself. And that would be considered a 73 deduction.
Wow. And that at this level now might just be too much in itself. There can't be that many mistakes that are allowed, or deductions I should say, that will be allowed when your bar is 9.62.
Right. There's any deduction at this point, you're out of the top 3.
Essentially. But once again, it's not just about winning the medals. Of course, for the lead candidates that you're expected, the usual suspects in any tournament, yes, you're probably looking for the podium. But for some of these other exponents that are from these some 60-odd countries that have joined us in Russia for the 14th World Wushu Championships, it is about getting a better score than you got at your last championship. That's what, as we were just talking about with Nestor's goals, to become as good as he possibly can. Well, this is going to go down in his profile, whatever the score might be. And what's that little shuffle in one of his landings just now?
Final score 9.17. Landing number 7 enters the arena.
It's also great when you look at the expression of Nestor as well. He's just alive even after his performance.
He looks very excited. Oh, there it is, 8.40.
8.40. Now, we did see a good performance from Nanquan from Macau, and he is up next on the mat. Good performance that was, of course, in Shanchuan and Long Fist yesterday.
This will be his 5th World Wushu Championships.
Highly experienced.
Definitely a top competitor. Was invited to the first Taolu World Cup, which takes the top 8 competitors from a World Wushu Championships.
That essentially is the best of the best meeting at the World Cup. And Nanquan qualified for that prestigious tournament.
Very controlled to jump inside splits. Jump outside 540. Looks
just
like
too much. Yep. Overcooked that a tiny bit.
Very nice directional changes.
And good speed in there as well. Just eases out of his routine. Nanquan. It was just that little stumble. I think we're probably going to be seeing it.
Yep, that may just cost him.
Final score 9.25. Final score 9.08.
So Nanquan with a 9.08 in the end. And while that is part of the 9 club, I might have to do that stat again and find out exactly from the 22 competitors or 21 competitors we've seen so far, exactly how many of them.
And it looks like his deductions were, as we saw, the horse stance, missed the C and the A.
14 of the 22. Now this is have hit 9 or above. Siwei Joanne Lim from Singapore. We have already seen Yi Xiangyong hit at 9.40. That was his teammate. Singapore, of course, had a great showing in Nanquan yesterday.
That's right. Siwei, Zhou, and Lim got a 6th place in long fist yesterday with 9.56.
How about that? Just setting a rhythm. And this explodes into life.
Very nice waist movements. Very quick.
Comfortable there.
Jump outside 540 into another 360 jump outside.
I like the switch up in rhythm that he's having in his form right now.
And as we were saying yesterday, the Singaporeans were definitely focused on rhythm and harmony.
There's a tumble.
There's a tumble right there.
Thrust to the front.
And again, as you slow your rhythm, you can actually accentuate your speed each time.
Yeah. And aesthetically, that will resonate well with the judges. Well, that was good stuff from Siwei, Zhou, and Lim.
And there's that quick combination from the beginning, straight into a jump front sit.
That was fluid. That was very nice. Each of these moves, just as a single move, is hard enough. But to transition them and to connect them.
Final score 9.63.
That 9.63 was actually for the other mat, so we're still waiting for Siwei, Zhou, and Lim's score, but of course it does tell you that on that other mat, at men's Nanquan, the competition is also very high. Once again, you can catch that on the IWUF Wushu channel. Both of those live streams out, this one and mat 1 and mat 2. The two fields of play for day 2 of Taolu. And that's actually good enough to get him into 3rd spot. And once again, that had a slightly dodgy landing, so it could have been even more. The current standard, of course, set by China, 9.72. Xipeng Li now in 2nd spot. Edgar Xavier Marvello with 9.68. And Siwei, Zhou, and Lim has just made sure, as we just watched Brandon Porfirio de Silva from Brazil, one of the tallest competitors we saw in long fist yesterday. Now, of course, even longer. He's with the Dao in his hand.
Very nice coils there. Jump outside 540.
We were just talking about accentuating your overall form, and of course, with someone with the size of Brandon, you have to kind of pull yourself back a tiny bit so you don't over-accentuate it, really. Make too much of an impact, if that is even possible.
He definitely has to move a lot faster than his shorter counterparts.
He does move very quickly for a big man. It's that moving cut and thrust. Very graceful butterfly there.
A weapon switch towards the end.
And that does, in fact, round off his form. Brazil's Brandon Porfirio da Silva. As we were talking about yesterday, Brazil has their own martial arts history, of course, with the likes of capoeira. And showing here on the world stage, they're also pretty talented at Wushu as well. Now, of course, Brandon has to come up with a very, very big score as that bronze medal keeps going up. There's now 9.65 as set by Siwei, Zhou and Lim if you want to get yourself in the medals. And that's only just 0.05 off. In fact, sorry, it's 0.07 off the gold, which is 9.72.
Final score 9.42.
9.42. And if it wasn't for this wonderful field of athletes that we've seen beforehand, that would actually be doing quite well. Let's put him in 10th. Italy up next on the mats. Matteo Di Maria. He's striking blue. This is so common with Italian athletes.
His flag's a little bit longer than most. Probably there to accentuate.
Yep. I actually noticed that most Chinese weapons, if they do have that flag or tassel at the end of it, their original use was to distract enemies, so you wouldn't really see where the blade and the tip was coming from. Here, of course, it is more about, as you said, accentuating more than anything else. Well, how about that for a jump?
There's that 540. There is a criteria for having a force stance that's too low. If the hips go below the horizontal level, then that is also a deduction in terms of force stance.
So everything has to be exactly on the parallel and perfect. And it's just so important for these athletes to fill this 1 minute 20 seconds with the best that they can. It's very easy to spot where, you know, they've kind of run through to another move. You want to maximize the use of your time on the mat.
And one of the criteria in the B scoring is to utilize each 4 corners of the carpet.
Well, we have seen a lot of movement like that. So, Matteo Di Maria. What was that great sword work with that snap kick?
Looks like he hopped out right there.
Yep.
Sometimes that's the best way to get out of a movement instead of taking a deduction for shuffling.
Final score 8.5.
8.52 for Matteo Di Maria. Now, still to come, of course, we have the silver medalist Ahmed Huleifi. He's going to be coming up in just a second from Indonesia. Highly touted in the Wushu world. And by the likes of Anthony and, of course, Mario Martinez, Alan Tang, and all the other experts that we have on the commentary team. He's coming up in just a bit. Right now, though, this is Hector Miguel Toledo from Chile.
Final score 8.14.
Confidently walks onto the mat. And I think we're going to see an expression of power here.
Looks like he's been taking a little bit too many steps on his run-ups.
And that has affected the rhythm of the form.
That's a 540 jump inside, stumble.
And once again, more of a touch than a slap really with the foot. So he's cautiously going through his routine. And what of course the judges are looking for is you to be right on the line of caution and expression. And that would be in any tournament. Of course, today's tournament, as we said, it's a 9.65 that you're going to need if you're getting the medal. So you really have to push yourself. And this is also a good example of how you can hear that Dao is not flailing as much. It's not making as much noise. The power transition throughout Hector's body. It's more of a slighter sound. So a very muted performance. And I think that's only in relation to some of the other performances that we've seen today.
Yeah, and this is his second World Wushu Championships. So still relatively newcomer to the scene.
Well, this is going to be a great experience, of course, for him to pick up.
You can see his thrust right there, not a full extension. The jabs are angled a little bit upwards.
Well, we did see that a little bit in some of the long fist competitors as well, where they looked almost as if they were rushing through the movements at certain points.
And you lose that crispness.
Yeah. You want to hear the slap, you want to hear the crack.
And there is final score, 7.70.
7.70. That's what the judges will give you if you do mute your performance. And let's see here if Henry Yuji Nakata from Brazil is going to add a bit of that extra power into his routine, which he's about to start now. This once again the men's Daoshu tournament on day 2 of the 14th World Wushu Championships. My name is Jeevan Silvanathan. In the commentary box with me is former US national and international judge Anthony Chen. We'll be talking you through all the Taolu this week. And there's that sound again, there's that flailing Dao sound.
Very nice jump outside 540.
That's a little more on the twist. It was a little bit more horizontal, as we were saying.
He swayed up and down in his landing.
Oh, getting a lot of encouragement from the crowd is Henry Yuji Nakata. Certainly a pacey routine. Just wrapped and coiled the Dao around his body there. Not bad. I do think he's going to be hard pushed though. There was that twist.
And that, he's the first one in this competition to do a 2-step into his jump inside 360. Most people will set up for 4-step. So this is a pretty nice touch to his form.
Well, it's reflected with another 9. That's 9.37. Again, on another day, it could have quite easily got him into the medals, but today it's pretty way off. So that's 13th rank with a 9.37. This is Luis Felipe Alvarez Rosas, another member of the Mexican team. Put in a very powerful long fist yesterday. Let's see how he does with the Dao.
Nice outside 540, a little stumble forward. Nice butterfly twist into splits. Not a combination we've seen too many of so far.
A lot of power as we expected. I've noticed a lot of these competitors actually making sure that their landings are pointed directly to the judges. And that martial intent, as you said, is just 100% shown.
A little slow down to the end of his routine. That last stance was a little shaky. Looks like he might have injured himself.
Well, that's actually one of the things I wanted to talk about yesterday as well. The incidence of injury in these. Obviously in training, you're bound to come across, as we just saw that misstep. But obviously if you do get injured within your routine, you try and power through it. It's going to obviously affect your movements, right?
Yeah, it definitely depends on what kind of injury it is. If it's something you can power through, most people would. Otherwise, you just raise your hand and calmly walk out.
Yeah, if it was ever too bad.
Right.
The last thing, of course, anyone would want is for you to physically injure yourself more. Now, this is Ahmed Huleifi, as we were saying. He picked up a silver medal yesterday from Indonesia, so back in the competition. And as you were saying earlier, Anthony, Daoshu is actually more of his speciality than long fist.
Right, yeah, just last year in the Taolu World Cup, he placed gold in this event. So, definitely something to look forward to. Very quick combinations.
That's a
very
nice, crisp on both. Looked like he had maybe a tiny problem landing, but he still controlled it very well. And this is the solidity we saw from him in long fist as well.
Lots of air time in those jumps. Very explosive and sharp.
Yeah. Oh, this is great stuff from Ahmed Huleifi. The bar has been set very high.
Very nice tumble there.
That's a wonderful tumble. And even into the final part of his routine, those snaps and kicks can still be heard.
Definitely did not lose any steam.
Yeah,
throughout his whole
it was
routine.
powering through all the way. Very strong competitor. We don't just mean that in terms of his routine, we actually mean that in terms of his physical form as well. He's
Final score 7.77.
now this could be a high score from Ahmed Huleifi.
Number 14 to enter the arena.
The real question is it more than a 9.65, which is what he's going to need if he's going to get into the medals? And what a story that would be if you could pick up a double medal. First a silver on day one in long fist. And we'll find out in the next few moments. And nobody more than him wants to look at that screen. See what he'd hope is a 9.66 or more. Don't forget the gold standard right now is 9.72. And after that, there is a 9.68 from Edgar Xavier Marvelo from Indonesia. So this could be two Indonesians in the top three. 9.64 and very close indeed. Very close indeed, but as we said, a high bar has been set. It's 9.65 from Siwei Zhou and Lim. That's how close it is.
Atlet number 31 enter the arena.
So Here we have Russia's next home athlete, Sergei Batrudinov. Born in Kirov, Russia, and got a 9.48 in 2014 at the World Junior Wushu Championship in Qiangshu, but has also won gold at the European Wushu Championships in Daoshu in 2014.
And there's a 720 jump inside right there.
He's got the skills, and he's also got the home support behind him, as we've seen with all the Russian athletes over the first 2 days. Oh, a little bit off there.
Looks like it was a 540 jump inside, a little bit into a 720, but that little step might cost him.
Yeah, at this level. Unsurprisingly, the crowd getting behind Sergei Batrudinov. And it is great to see Russian athletes on the Wushu side of, oh sorry, on the Taolu side of Wushu. Of course, there are a lot of sparring fighters in Sanda. That Sanda competition, by the way, is also on its way. It'll be continuing this evening, so make sure you stay tuned for that. Now, as Sergei finishes his routine, Anthony, let's have a look at the replay.
Very quick combinations. That was his first 720 jump outside. That was a little step right there. And that was another one.
Yeah. So that's definitely going to cost him.
He's definitely the first competitor to pull off 2 720s. Not successfully, but still got it.
A 9.16, he'll be happy with getting into the 9 club. And of course, if those 2 steps had not happened, he could have been up there. Now, up next on the mat, this looks like Domenico Giordano. We saw him yesterday as well in the long fist from Italy.
I believe his brother Michele Giordano just competed on the other carpet where Mario Martinez and Alan Tang are commentating. It's nice to have 2 brothers do 2 separate disciplines so you don't get too competitive.
So close as well. A memory for the family. So he gets into his routine now.
Jump outside 540.
He actually got a 9.02 at the last World Wushu Championships, ranked himself 24. He's got an 8.92 and a 9.44 at the 10th World Wushu Championships, where he was ranked 16th.
Final score 9.52.
That was a good example there of what you were saying about the opposing hand having to be balanced out as well. So it's a straight linear line from the tip of the sword all the way through your body into the other arm. That's the end of his routine.
Lots of good rhythm with Domenico.
And transitions nicely into his combinations. 9.14.
Looks like he has 2 deductions based off of kicking height and then his empty stance.
So currently, of the 31 competitors we've seen, 22 of them have hit 9 or above. Everyone putting their best into the men's Daoshu. But that also means, as we said earlier, the bar very high indeed if you want to hit the medals. And this right now would be Curtis Filmer from Great Britain. Gold medal in long fist, June 2007, the British National Championships. That was a youth tournament. But in Daoshu, a silver medal, and the 2016 European Wushu Championship. Just saw a bit of a stumble there from him.
You can see him keeping his body low just to control his landing. A little stiff on the shoulders.
Yeah, just that part of it. Well,
and that was
the throwing catch.
And that was the first one we've seen in this competition. Very risky.
Well, if you miss that, of course, that's going to be...
Right, you lose the points for the difficulty, and you also get a weapon drop, which is a 0.3 deduction.
Wow. That's heavy in terms of the level that we're seeing.
But definitely favored upon by the B-level judges.
Final score 6.57. Athlete number 18 into the arena.
A little bit shaky there as well. But points for effort from Curtis Filmer. Have you ever heard as we watch the highlights of Curtis, have you ever heard of any athletes when they see that the benchmark is up and of course you're down, you would change your routine, you'd add something a little bit more difficult because you think maybe you need to?
Actually, you can't change the routine. When you submit for a competition, you write down all the difficulty. So if you do switch your movements, you actually lose the points if you do something else.
Right, okay. Well, 8.31 for Curtis Filmer, it's 26th in rank.
And the only thing to that point, the only thing you can improve at that point is just your expression and your overall performance.
So it is those B panel judges that can kind of lift up your score if you can get it all together. Now, Cosmin Alexandru from Romania was also in the long fist tournament. Let's see if he's a bit more confident in the Daoshu. Once again, great to see Romania on the world stage for Wushu. A bit soft on that kick to start off with.
A little bit of traditional movements there. A little shaky butterfly twist.
A little bit shaky.
Looks like he was attempting a 720, but not quite.
Well, the great thing about Cosmin, I have to say, even from long fist, he just has this wonderful attitude. He's really enjoying what he's doing. And that is important as well.
There, that little combination you just did,
yeah.
that was a compulsory requirement in actually in the Chinese rules.
Some interesting extra twist that he's putting into his form. A little bit slower than some of the other.
He just put his hand down right there.
Yeah.
Like additional support. Looks like he had
Wow, that's a big fall.
that's gonna really cost him. Too many steps.
Yeah. Loose. It's all very loose.
So with a couple of falls.
Well, as you can see from his expression as he walks off the mat, he has such a wonderful attitude, Cosmin. We saw this yesterday as well. He's not the highest scorer of points, but puts the effort in, and of course is representing a nation, Eastern European nation, that is into Chinese martial arts. There aren't going to be that many Romanians that are doing this, so he's setting the bar on a national standard, and there he is again, smiling, happy enough. These moments for him are different from, say, a Chinese athlete or one from Korea. Better than before is what he's hoping for, better than before. Probably not with that big fall, has to be said.
A couple big falls.
Yeah, a couple of big falls.
But you're right, he definitely looks happy and content with his performance. And,
what do they say in life? As long as you're happy, you're happy. A 5.70 is not going to win him any medals, and it's definitely going to put him at the bottom of the rankings. But he's still smiling as he walks off. You know, very few important things in life, Anthony, and one of them is smiling. So now we have
Yodacotl, Alejandro Guerrero Becerra from Mexico.
Yep, that's right. So another member of the Mexican team. And I'm sure, just as his teammates, Luis Alberto de Jesus and Daniel Narvaez Gomez, we're going to see, yes, it's true, a powerful start to the routine.
A little sway there in his landing.
I've actually noticed with the Mexican team, maybe a bit too powerful going into the jumps, and that's why you have that extra power that you got to control.
It's not enough just to have raw power.
Yeah,
controlled power.
Controlled power, that's right. Controlled power that is
especially on those jumps.
Well, as we saw with the Korean team, and that's a very nice flip. The Korean team and of course the Chinese team as well. They managed to slow that rhythm down just before the right time, so they have the good run-ups for their jumps.
And right when they go through their jumps, then they can express their power.
Yeah.
Looks a little far from his body.
Yeah.
Sword work.
Needs to be closer than that.
Very nice drop stance, empty stance combination. Showing off his flexibility.
Well, I did round it off in the end with that nice combination. So, points for power, yes. Control, no. Or a little less anyway. How are his jumps for you? So, Alejandro Guerrero Becerra from Mexico. He's immediately put on his Mexican team jersey, I suppose, jacket, you could say. 9.41. Not bad at all. There was a 9.21 from Luis Alberto de Jesus, and there was a 7.94 from Daniel Narvaez Gomez. So he's definitely delivered the goods at a team level. Now, this is Raju Lama from Nepal.
Actually,
sorry. A correction, that's Melvin Tan from Australia. And we actually saw Melvin in long fist as well. So Melvin Tan from Australia on the mat. Getting into our final 6 competitors for the men's Daoshu. Coming up after this will be the women's Qiangshu. Spear play.
Jump outside 540, just a touch short. A little sway forward and back.
Tiniest of sways, you're right. And again, just missing that crispness in the kicks as well.
Final score 9.51.
Definitely a lot of aspects to pay attention to. Besides just athleticism, your control of the weapon,
Yeah.
your kicks, your upper body.
That butterfly looked a little bit labored. And almost rushed into the empty stance there. It was that right hand that looked like it was essentially rushing through a few of the movements. As we saw with the Korean team and the Chinese team as well, when they smack that kick, it can be heard all around the auditorium. So Melvin Tan from Australia. Awaits his judgment now. As we get into the last, I can just tell you now, as we get into the last 6 competitors, it is still Zhifeng Li from China with a 9.72. That is in the gold medal position. Edgar Xavier Marvelo from Indonesia is 9.68. Would be actually one of the stories of the day, it has to be said, for silver. 8.43 for Melvin Tan. And it is that 9.65 from Singapore's Siwen Joen Lim. And I can tell you now that Singapore and the Singaporean fans are going to be very happy if they can pick up bronze in the men's Daoshu. Now this is Dominic Chow, of course, from the USA. You must have an inside line on Dominic.
Yeah, Dominic is the only male athlete today from the US who's had 2 previous world championship experiences. He was at Jakarta and the last 2 junior world championships. Like I said, in Changchun, a very explosive competitor.
You can see immediately as he gets into his routine. That's full extension there. Almost all the limbs. Highly expressive.
Jump outside 540.
Good landing. Great sword work around the body.
A lot of directional changes.
Which must be very difficult to do, to suddenly change your vector of attack.
Definitely have to switch your momentum.
Yeah. And go from your right leg to your left leg, and that'll be your leading leg. These are just some of the micro dynamics.
Definitely highlights his agility.
Great body movement there. And one thing you have to say about Dominic is, as you said, his expression, his extension has been fantastic.
Final score 9.61.
And that concludes his routine. Dominic Hoyan Choi, representing the USA.
Athlete number 23 entered the ring.
Once again, 9.65 is the entry for the medals. And there's a host of post nines. And with no significant deduction there and any major error, we should see him up there. Most probably within the nines, but of course I am not an international judge, so I'm just guessing that.
There is 8.90 for Dominic Chow.
Yeah, close, but 8.90. And looking at his deductions.
Yeah, it looks like he missed his first jump, a little short on that 540 jump outside, and a 51, which is a horse stance deduction.
So various codes that the judges have that are actually on the scoreboards as well, so everyone can see exactly where those deductions came out. Now this is Nicolas Ossel from France, also in the long fist yesterday. A bit of a stumble there. Left leg, not quite on point.
His posture's a little bit curved forward.
Yeah.
His left hand's a little bit loose. Very nice back layout.
Just switch the hands there. And again.
Minus 4, 9.40. I think number 24 to enter the arena.
So, Nicolas Ossel from France. A couple of stumbles along the way.
There's his first one.
There was a little bit of a gap there in that transition as well.
You can see in the replays, left hand still a little loose throughout.
9.09 for Nicolas.
Next event, woman Qiangshu.
Now we have something special coming up soon. And that is the women's Qiangshu, which is the next tournament. So that actually rounds off the men's Daoshu, and that will mean it's a gold medal for China again. Ji Fengli's 9.72. And Edgar Xavier Marvello's 9.68 will take silver, and the 9.65 from Siwei Zhou and Lim would be the bronze. But really a host of athletes that have scored highly. There was Seung Jae Cho with a 9.62, Yong Hyun Lee with a 9.60.
The Koreans had a very strong showing.
Yeah. I think they might feel hard done by. Now, of course, getting into this next, as we look at the result list, just confirming that 0.72, 0.68, 0.65 as the gold, silver, and bronze. But just look at that: 0.64, 0.62, 0.60, 0.59, and 0.55. So an 8th spot for Russia, which I'm actually sure they'll be happy with. That was a high level of competition, and they still managed, out of a competitive list of almost 40, to hit 8th. See the Vietnamese fighters and Brazil both then 11th and 15th. Singapore also. And these are all still 9s. We haven't hit 8 yet. Well, there you go. Eric Anthony Long is giving us in 24th, ranked 24, 8.97.
Yeah, this is definitely a favored event among Wushu athletes, just because you can really let loose and just show your power.
Yeah. So now, women's Qiangshu. This is another one of the great weapons of Wushu. And we just round off, there's Cosmin Alexandru right at the one with 5.70. Renato Bao, Belgium, with a 6.00. Now, as the women get onto the mat, there are a few questions I want to ask you, Anthony, about the xiang itself. The xiang is a spear, and it is different in its use from the gun, which is the staff. The staff emphasizes more hitting, whereas of course the qiang is more point of the spear. It's literally tip of the spear.
Right, a lot of thrusting movements, a lot of blocking movements, very precise, full extension. Definitely very complementary to the long fist style. The staff itself is definitely very similar to broadsword. A lot of slamming, a lot of swinging, and this you'll see a lot more accurate thrusting.
And again, with those tassels, those red tassels at the top of the qiang, in traditional historical times were used to distract enemies. Here, of course, there's no real weight difference from having that tassel on top of the qiang.
No, it's very insignificant.
Yeah.
But definitely there is a height requirement.
I was just about to ask, is there, based on the height of the individual, what is the variance of the qiang?
So when the spear is set down on the floor next to you, you have to raise your one of your arms, and it goes up to your fingertips, your longest fingertip. It has to be as long as that. So you're at a disadvantage if you have long limbs.
Yeah.
Then you have a longer spear.
Now, of course, having a spear of at least, say, 4 to 6 feet means that your entire body mechanics have to radically change to accommodate the power and the motion of it.
A lot of core control.
And a lot of the power, of course, in Wushu comes from that torso and hip. A little bit different here when you have to essentially wield a 4 to 6 foot long. Most of these spears I read up are actually made of waxwood.
That's correct, waxwood, and more recently this polycarbonate material.
Oh, high.
Very strong. Expected not to break, but I've heard that they have broke.
So our first competitor is Keiko Yamaguchi from Japan.
And she was very close in the Tangtren from the other mat. Placed
that was
fourth,
yesterday,
just 0.02 away. And competing
really
last third 3 World Wushu Championships.
And once again, you can immediately see the changed body dynamics from having this spear. Once again, it's about harmonizing the weapon with the body, but of course this is a much longer weapon. It's got a different weight entirely. No grip, of course, unlike the Dao or any sword.
And definitely having a longer weapon presents a bigger challenge, especially if you're doing an aerial movement. You have to make sure your weapon is
trailing
really close to you. Otherwise, you can scrape the ground if you're doing an aerial movement.
And that is one of the only times he's allowed to.
An aerial split. You mentioned very rare you'll see that. Very, very difficult.
Oh, great little coil into the sit there.
Very nice stance work.
So, Keiko Yamaguchi, and that's wonderful salute at the end of the routine, holding it at the bottom of the saying it's vertically up.
I think number 27 to enter the arena.
But it is fascinating how the body then moves around the spear itself. And because of that thrust, I'm assuming it's very linear movements we're talking about.
Exactly, very linear, except when it comes to the blockings. And those have to make a semicircle. That's a requirement. Otherwise, you would get deducted for the quality of movement.
And that would effectively be the parry. So 9.56 is where we've opened up scoring. There's been some great competition on mat 1. And also, I can tell you, we've been sneaking peeks at mat 2. You don't have to sneak peeks in mat 2 because, of course, it is being live streamed on the IWUF YouTube channel. And also look out this coming week over the next 4 or 5 days for highlights from everything. Here's Alyssa Lowe from the USA. So any insider info on Alyssa?
Yeah, this is Alyssa's first time at this stage as an adult. She's from Northern California.
Wow, solid hitting. And there is that empty stance with the xiang. Altogether, pretty solid performance.
It's a pretty solid performance. Definitely new at this level. Doesn't have quite the strength as the other adults,
So
but definitely clean and sharp.
Well, 9.56 is the opening score that Alyssa has to aim for. From Keiko Yamaguchi, as you said, is having a great 14th WWC. Just waiting now to see exactly what Alyssa has scored, and this will of course be immediately, these first three competitors immediately are in the top 3 rankings, just by very nature of starting off the list. Once again, as I said at the beginning of our broadcast, if you want to get the full results and from the 14th World Wushu Championships, get on to 14wwc.iwuf.org. That's the official website of the 14th World Wushu Championships. All competition info, schedules, results, medal standings, and a load of really interesting stuff as well is on there. So when it comes down to the judges and the scoring, what are the 3, or at least the composite requirements that they need to have in their routine?
So, like we said earlier, the thrust is very important. Like all the long fist events, you need those stance works, the bow stance, the drop stance, and
leg
stance.
techniques. You're right. But
then there's a few required spear movements, about 8 of them.
9.30 from Alyssa Lowe. 2 9s to kick off the list.
Looks like she completed her seed level difficulties with 1 deduction of 73. That's from weapon malfunction or maybe a touch loss of grip.
Yeah. Well, Yi Li also did very well in the women's Nanquan yesterday.
She placed 3rd in long fist, and she was also
medal.
Yep. Also placed 3rd at the first Taolu World Cup just last year.
And then there is that front heel kick just to kick off the routine.
Very nice flexibility.
Yeah, and looking very comfortable with the xiang as well.
Jumped outside, 540.
That was a great example of, how you can control the xiang as you're getting the rest of your form done.
That's one of those required movements, the figure 8. And into even more required movements.
Now there, those thrusts you were talking about, yep. And there is the lateral swing.
Very neat combination. Switching the spearhead to the other hand.
Final score 8.39. Athlete number 29.
Oh, this is great stuff from Macau.
A very solid performance.
Very solid performance indeed. Yi Li from Macau, already a medalist here at the World Wushu Championships on day 1, and looks like she's put in a very good performance now. We'll have to wait and see whether it will in fact earn her another medal, but all you can do is your best. Good change up in rhythm there. Now, how much would one of these xiangs actually weigh?
I believe they're anywhere from 2 pounds to 3. It depends on how tall you are and how thick your weapon is.
9.20. But as we said, because it does, of course, change in its length depending on the competitor. But I was just thinking about having any amount of poundage at the end of your hand.
Right. And some athletes will shave their spear or their staff just to make sure it's weighted properly.
Yeah, right.
It looks like Yi Li got 2 deductions for her first jump outside 540. Looks like it was short.
So this is Paloma Panos Mia from Spain. Well, how about that for flexibility? One leg balance. There's that figure of 8 you're talking about.
And the loss of grip.
You can immediately see the difference.
Another loss of grip.
Yeah, and immediately transfers to the crispness of the hit. And that will close out Paloma Panos Mia's routine from Spain. All 9 so far on the scoreboard. 9.56 leading the way. We're from Keiko Yamaguchi. Alyssa Lowe with a 9.30 and Yi Li from Macau with a 9.20. Now those losses of grip are really going to cost her, right?
Those are 0.1 each time. That would be a 73 deduction code.
And she got 3 of those, I can see that. I also noticed there's 2 30s up there as well, and that code is...
That code is for the kicking level.
Right.
So in some of her Nandu, which is the degree of difficulty, it was below the shoulder height. Now as a C score, you only need to be above the waist.
Yeah. Really is amazing to see that extra level from the judges' eyes, of course, as we said before, Anthony. Now, as we just watch Lisa Derringer from Switzerland take to the mat, but as I was saying, Anthony Chen is also an international judge, so he has these eyes, and it's great to see. Wonderful to have you in the commentary box, mate, this week. Oh, big fall there. Stumbled forward, couldn't quite take the momentum.
Looks like she just may recover at this point. Now Lisa's not a newcomer. She's been at the last 3 World Championships.
Yeah. Just feeling her way through a routine. A lot of support from her teammates. And that is the end of her routine. Couple of slips in there.
Yeah,
definitely
major
cost up.
right over here in the replay.
That was the big one.
That was 2 steps.
And that was a slight slide. Good enough landing.
And in terms of the split landing, the judges are definitely looking for just a linear.
Yeah, non-swaying either left or right, obviously. But are you allowed on those split landings with an 8.78 there? Are you allowed on those landings, the split landings, especially to almost reset your feet when your feet land?
There's you only allowed a natural bounce, and that's if you land in the split and you bounce up.
Okay.
But if your foot moves, if your left
or
foot
right,
goes and touches the ground, that would be that would nullify your landing.
So this is Cathy Delogne from Belgium.
Athlete number 32 to enter the arena.
As we've seen before, taking a very cautious approach, just making sure that all of her movements are in the right place. Nothing wrong with that at all. You could, I suppose, say better to do that than kind of rush through and pick up a lot of deductions on the way.
Right.
I suppose that's what you were saying earlier about trading deductions. It's better to go through and maybe lose the overall vigorousness of the performance as opposed to, one of my favorite words, overcook it and then go.
Definitely not something you want to do at a world stage unless you're doing a difficult movement.
But there are just so many options to these athletes as to what they can do in such a tiny time frame. 1 minute 20 seconds is all you get, and 10 sets of eyes, and that's of course the key judges' eyes and head judge eyes watching every movement. And on top of that, hundreds of thousands of other eyes watching through the cameras. Cathy Delogne from Belgium.
So it doesn't look like she had any degree of difficulty movements here. We didn't see any balance movements or jumps. And keep in mind, it's required at this level to have these jumps. That's 2 points, which were
taken off,
and they're about
2 full points.
2 full points.
Wow.
There are 30 combinations you can probably use from all the bounces and jumps.
So 6.87 for Cathy. Now, up next, one of the favorites for this competition, Hong Kong's Tianhui Zheng. Any background on her?
Yeah, she also competed at the last 3 World Wushu Championships. Always touching very close to the top, but never medaling. So,
well, perhaps this could be Tianhui's time.
Final score 8.18. Athlete number 33 to enter the arena.
.540. Very nice combination.
Yeah, solid landing as well.
Now, this is definitely where you want to be more cautious. Lots of quick parries. A weapon toss. Very nice.
Made sure of the catch as well. That was very nice to see.
Again, very risky movement to.
Well, even with a bigger weapon as well.
That's going to be favored pawn by the B judges.
Good little tilt palm at the end just to signify the end of her routine. Hong Kong's Qian Huizheng. Now, you did say that she's come close on a number of occasions. Well, there was some really good points within that routine just now. Not to mention, of course, the massive weapon toss. And it was high as well. It was
right. That was way higher than the last competitor.
Yeah, that's right.
Very athletic. Her butterfly twist is very high.
And there it is, straight off screen. Had to wait for that to come down.
Final score
9.45, and that's going to put her in the silver medal position. So perhaps this is going to be a good day for Qian Huizheng. Currently leading the list. Our first competitor out on the mat for the women's Qiangshu, which is what you're watching now. Keiko Yamaguchi from Japan is up top in the gold medal position. Qian Huizheng now in second. And that would mean Alyssa Lowe is in third for the US with 9.30. Now, be up to Matilde Bettinazzi from Italy to see if she can better any of those three scores. The bronze medal currently at 9.30. Oh, and that is an injury. And we were talking about this just earlier, Anthony. And this is exactly what we were talking about. It looks like a knee injury, just landed really badly on that knee. Well, we do wish the best for Matilde Bettinazzi as we look at it now.
And there it is.
Oh, that really is. It's just a stretched leg. Must have, by the looks of it, ripped it. And really a big round of applause for Matilde Bettinazzi. She's shown exactly the limits that you get pushed to on the Taolu mat. It may look graceful, it may look so easy when some of these athletes go out, but they are playing with pressures that can rupture. And in this case, it looks like it was more of a rip than probably a tear in the knee.
Yeah, it looks like a tear, maybe the ACL.
Wow, that is, of course, in all sports, that is one of the biggest injuries to have. So we wish Matilde a speedy recovery there. And of course, as you can see, good to have the medical staff on hand and quickly responding to that injury. It's got to be. And of course, we'll try and get you an update on her condition. Once again, if you want to get all the information, the background on, and of course, the highlights for all of this stuff, and any updates, then just get onto the IWUF website. Meanwhile, we have Elif Akyüz from Turkey up next.
And she was in medal standing twice in this event, the last two World Wushu Championships. It's a very strong competitor in spear.
Well, she's definitely got the speed. That low center of gravity as well is helping her out. That's a wonderful landing. Oh, you can just see the amount of power and force she's putting into the xiang, the way it's bending.
That usually shows whether the athlete has control or not. They're able to bend the spearhead.
That's of course something which was you probably couldn't see in the Dao because it's so small as well, but you did see it in the end of the Dao. Whereas for the Xiang, and she's getting great variance in the bend there. Well, another weapon toss, the third of the day that we've seen. That one a little bit shorter in height than Tianhui. And that's going to go down well with those B judges. Would the weapon toss also be included as a difficulty move, obviously?
Yep, this is also a difficulty movement. It's combined usually with a kick or a sweep. And the criteria is to hold on to the weapon, catch it in the right hand. If you grab with two hands, that would you get deducted.
You grab it with one and then move swiftly into your next combination, and it's going to be that transition that makes a difference.
It's a little more difficult in the short weapons because if you grab the flag or the tassel, that
oh,
would
exactly.
also be
Yeah,
deducted.
yeah. 9.13 for Elifakius. So as solid as it was, that's going to put her in 5th position right now. Now this should be Denise Avina Mendez. Yes, it is, from Mexico. Now, I wonder if we'll see the power that we saw from the rest of the Mexican team. Now, of course, translated to the tip of the spear. Good control there.
Jump
looked
outside
a little
into
bit,
bow stance.
Yeah, a little bit stretched there. That bow stance did look a little bit stretched, but... And definitely stumbled back as she landed into that horse. Just a forward thrust. Again, we see that spearhead bending, so there is a lot of power in there, a lot of energy transition. That. A little bit of flair going into this one. There's that figure of 8. And the end of a solid performance from Denise Avina Mendez. With the exception of that landing, of course. Any grip difficulties that you saw?
Not much grip difficulties. I did notice she is a little bit lax with her spear. It looks like it was controlling her a little bit more than she was controlling it.
Oh, that's a very good point, yeah.
Final score 8.32.
And that has been reflected in an 8.32 for Denise. So now, this is Thieu Vi Dong from Vietnam. She's one of the fancy contenders. I actually did manage to see her in the recent Southeast Asian Games. Very strong Vietnamese team that was sent there.
And she was also in the medal standing twice in this event, the last 2 World Wushu Championships.
So this is very much her speciality.
Very nice jump.
Oh, that's wonderful. That's wonderful. And a nice
40. Lots of power.
Yeah.
Her movements.
And channeled well as well. There's another one.
Very low stance. You just tell how confident she is throughout the whole routine.
Yeah. It was just exuding, radiating confidence, if not. So another good performance from not just the Vietnamese team, but Vi Duong herself.
Athlete number 39 entered the arena.
Just in control. And as you said just earlier, that with Denise Vina Mendes, it did look like the spear was controlling her. In this case, the spear was just subservient to exactly what Tay wanted. .964, and that's going to put her immediately in the gold medal position. We said it was strong, and that has changed things a little bit. Keiko Yamaguchi now in second spot with 9.56, and still Alyssa Lowe doing well for the USA in 9.30 in third. Now we have Korea's Gae-yong-ji. That's right, no, there's a correction there. We've got, of course, Tran Hui Zheng put in a fantastic performance for a 9.45, and that's actually ousted Alyssa Lowe, so she's now out of the medals. I apologize there. We were just saying how Tan Hui Zheng is looking for a medal. Well, now she's hopefully going to get the bronze. Let's see what Gae-yong-ji can do.
Nice aerial splits. Looks like she lost her grip right there. Very nice jump outside into both hands. That's very hard to do, generally just because of the momentum in the very short stance.
It's a shame about that loss of grip, because the rest of this has been very nice indeed. Butterfly into rest.
Final score 8.31. Athlete number 4 entered the arena.
Well, nice, confident end to that. Currently, the entry to bronze would be 9.45, as pointed out. 9.56 for silver and a 9.64 or more if you wanted to get a gold. And as Anthony pointed out, should any of these athletes actually be tied at the end of it, then it will actually get broken down to their C-level difficulty moves and how they were one put in their routine, of course how they were executed as well. There is another level to decide who will win. Haven't seen that yet.
You see in the background her teammate, Ha-Seung Lee, doing Southern staff.
Nanquan, yep. And of course, we were saying Nanquan, well, she gets a 9.43, and that still isn't going to quite get her into the medals, but it is going to give her fourth place as of now. Now, so this should be Kimberly Makua from the Philippines. Confident walk straight onto the mat.
Also a relatively new competitor, the World Wushu Championships. I just saw her at the SEA Games that you were commenting just earlier this year. Very strong performance.
Oh, that was very graceful indeed. Just control that split landing.
Looks like she might have stepped up a little too quick from that stance. We'll see the judges catch that.
Comfortably through the 8. There's that power being transitioned straight to the It almost looks like it's not made of wood anymore when it's doing that. Could be some rubbery-like substance. Oh, great pickup there. Very comfortable with Qiang.
A lot of hand switches there.
Yeah. That was a beautiful coiling combination there. Butterfly into the sit. Oh, it's a fine performance indeed. Kimberly Makua from the Philippines. And she seems very happy with that as we look at the highlights, and there were a great many of them. 9.38 has again been some great competition in terms of the results that have been produced from the men's Daoshu and the women's Qiangshu, which is what Anthony Chen and myself have been watching here on Mat 1, the 14th World Wushu Championships in Kazan in Russia. Mat 2 has had the men's Nanquan and the women's Nanquan. Mario Martinez and Alan Tang watching that, and of course you can catch that stream and all the highlights from it on the IWUF YouTube channel. Now this is Hee-Ju Seo from Korea.
She just placed top 7 in the competition yesterday in long fist, and she placed first in straight sword in the last World Wushu Championships. Wow. So not her event today, but this is obviously another good event for her. Very comfortable into those landings.
Of course, if you're switching from Qiangshu to Qiangshu, then it is just really about the difference in weight of the weapon and
using 2 hands instead of 1.
Yeah. But in terms of her stances, of course, you can bet they're going to be pretty solid. So far, they have been. Wonderfully athletic, wonderfully acrobatic. Great lateral there. Of course, there is also your hand position on the Qiang as well, because if it's in the middle, you're going to get greater balance. If that's off even just by a millimeter, that's going to change the weight ratio on that.
Exactly. And also, if the right hand is not at the bottom of the spear, there is a deduction code for that. Especially if you're doing a thrust.
Yeah.
Thrusting movement. Nice confident finish.
All in all, a good confident routine. Again, the Korean team showing some great mettle in their performances in all the disciplines we've seen so far on both these mats for the first 2 days. The Korean team have certainly come here to get the results. Wouldn't be surprised if this was a high-scoring result for Hee-Ju Seo. just at the bottom of your screen, you can just see Zara Qiani warming up while we wait for Heju's result. Once again, it is the 9.45 from Hong Kong's Tianhui Zheng, if you want to make it into the medals. And it is a fantastic 9.64 from Theo Viet Yong from Vietnam. That is currently the gold medal standard.
Final score 9.37.
9.63 for Heju Xiao. And that's going to put her into second spot. And that's so close. 9.64 for the gold, 9.63 for the silver. I've just got to mention that. We saw some pretty close calls yesterday as well. Now here is Zara Qiani from Iran. The Iranian Wushu, I should say, has definitely made its mark.
Yeah, they caught up in the last few World Wushu Championships, putting them at the second medal count, highest medal count.
And not just on the Taolu mats, also in the Malay type of stand-up.
She had a body fall right there. That's going to cost her.
A couple, yeah, just in that opening part. Just got to settle into a routine and, as you said, relax. Maybe a bit over-explosive, and that's beginning to compromise some of those basic stances. Really going for the extravagant and at speed as well.
Very powerful movements.
Oh, we haven't seen that today. Powerful stuff. He's going to get compromised for those early losses. Yeah, the early
jumps. Yeah,
early jumps and landings didn't quite go according to plan.
In terms of
that
choreography,
was one of them.
Yep.
And that's a full body fall there, right?
Yep. She definitely has a lot of good choreography.
Yeah.
You can see there's a lot of traditional style, a lot of hooks in there. You know, shows a lot of dexterity with the weapon.
Yeah. Showed a lot of control. And she's just right now, I'm sure, thinking about that body form. So she didn't expect to have it, but once again, it's controlling that momentum in a high energy routine. Zara Qiani.
Final score 9.60.
And a 9.14 for Zara.
I think number 43.
It's going to put her 9th in the table.
She got her deduction for her landing and the body fall. Without those two, she would have still been in 4th place.
So this is Patricia Nassia from Lebanon. Very active routine immediately. And looking very different from the opening ceremony, where I did actually manage to sneak a picture with the entire Lebanese team. Or rather, they managed to sneak a picture with me, I should say.
Hand switches there.
Nice, behind the back.
A little loss of grip.
Great awareness and control of the Xiang. And that brings us to the end of Patricia Mercier's routine. Having a look at the replay there, Anthony.
She's got a lot of switches in her hands in terms of the weapon, but she does have a little bit lack of control in terms of the spear. You see, it's not as linear as the other competitors. If I count it correctly, I think she's short on her difficulty movements, so she may be already below a 9.
Yeah. Those difficulty movements that will put well below 7.25.
Final score 7.25. Athlete number 44 to enter the arena.
So that's going to put her 14th in the rank. This would be up next, Juliette Fauchet from France. France also another regular competitor at the World Wushu Championships. We've seen them both on the Taolu mat and the Sandalay time. Strong Wushu following in the European country.
Solid jump combinations right there.
There are just so many techniques with this Yang. We've seen a good spread of them over the competitors so far today. And it really is a good showcase for anyone watching. There's prerequisite thrusts and parries. Here's another one. So Juliette Fauchet from France.
Not a bad performance. Definitely very strong. She does lack a little bit of the flexibility required in the sphere.
Yeah, I can see what you mean. It was
a little tight in the shoulders.
Yeah, essentially just went through her routine like that, but it was that full extension that you're talking about. It was kind of opening up the body and still having control of the spear.
Final score 8.51.
So 9.09. And looking at her deductions, that's a 30 and a 63 in the group C.
In the group A.
Oh, sorry, group A.
So one's her kick height, and the other one's a weapon deduction, and that one's the thrust. The spear wasn't fully extended.
So this is Ain Fun from Malaysia. Malaysia were in contention yesterday, the Malaysian team, and they have been doing pretty well. Strong Wushu team in Malaysia. I've had the pleasure, of course, of reporting on them and meeting them as well.
Series of really quick movements, showing the flexibility of her spear.
There is that full extension you're talking about. getting even more comfortable through our routine. Started possibly a little bit slow, but now
He's definitely picked up a lot of speed.
Yeah. Right at the end there, just ended with some great combinations. So good performance from Malaysia. And what's interesting to note, of course, when she was warming up, she still actually didn't make that many mistakes. So how would that resonate with the overall performance? Obviously, that's going to look great, but she just picked up the speed as she went through.
Yeah, you can definitely tell in the beginning of her routine, very focused on the jumps, keeping it very controlled. Once she got past that, she just went all out.
Wow, a 9.54 almost immediately for Ayin Fun.
With a deduction code of 51, and that's for that initial horse stance. She went a little below horizontal level.
And that was as we were saying at the beginning. So anyway, that is going to be good enough. 9.64 was Teo Vi Dong from Vietnam. And then of course there was a 9.56 from Keiko Yamaguchi, and that 9.54 from Ayin Fun should take third. Looking at some of the highlights from what has been a fantastic Qiangshu, women's Qiangshu. That, of course, was Mathilde Bettinazzi, who unfortunately and sadly had that injury. I'm sure she's getting treatment for that now. Opposed to that, it was wonderful stuff from all the ladies participating. This, of course, was Teo Vi Dong, who notched up that 9.64. This was Kimberly Makua from the Philippines, the 9.38. That looks like Zara Kiani. So all in all, very good performance from the women's Qiangshu, and that is the final medal standings. Vietnam take the gold with 9.64, Korea with Hee-Ju Seo 9.63, and Keiko Yamaguchi again, this time in the medals, of course, with 9.56 in third. But great performance also from Ayin Fun. Tian Hui Zheng misses out once again, was in the medal contention for a while with 9.45. And of course, from 9th to 16th, we have Yi Li, Zara Kiani, Elif Akuz, Juliette Vaucher, Lisa Derringer, Denise Vina Mendez, and Cathy Deloynes at the bottom of the table with that 6.87. So that has been the two championships, the men's Daoshu and the women's Qiangshu. And we'll be back with the winners' ceremonies for both those disciplines, and of course the men's Nanquan and the women's Nanquan that was also happening on mat 2. Stay with us for that. We'll be back in just a bit.
Final score 8.14. Athlete number 48. Final score 7.02. Athlete number 49 to enter the arena. Final score 9.25.
This concludes the second session of the 13th World Wushu Championship. Will the judges please leave the arena? Вторая сессия 14-го чемпионата мира по Wushu закончилась. Судьи, просим вас покинуть арену.
Дорогие зрители, здесь просьба вас оставаться с нами буквально еще на 10 минут, потому что через 2 минуты начнется красочная церемония награждения победителей. Оставайтесь вместе с нами, не разделите этот радостный момент вместе с атлетами. Спасибо. сессию. Напоминаю, что она будет 19:30 через 2 часа, так что у вас есть уйма времени, чтобы сходить перекусить, отправиться домой. Так что она будет уже происходить вот там вот. Окей, прежде что у вас осталось немного, и вы те самые классные болельщики, которые остаются спортсменами на церемонии награждения. Но, знаете так, кто готов остаться на церемонии награждения, поаплодируйте этим красавцам, этим молодцам. Вот, есть. Хорошо. Теперь я вот исключительно опять обращаюсь к тем, кто был в первый раз. Вот я говорю, футбол много любителей есть. Кто понял, что реально классно вообще, прям интересно. Есть. Хорошо, вопрос. Тем, кто вот уже разбирается в ушу, смотрели вообще как эксперты, это лучше, чем вы видели до этого? Или, в принципе, вообще вот так вот? Я вот видел этого молодого человека, ну было, но вообще. Ладно, класс, давайте так, те, кто решил остаться с нами на церемонии награждения, советую вас не стоять в ногах, правда нет, присаживайтесь все. Мы с вами так вот немножко пошумим, покричим опять же, и потом уже объявим церемонию награждения. Поэтому присаживайтесь.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 14th World Wushu Championships, victory ceremony for Taolu, Daoshu men. Дамы и господа, церемония награждения 14-го чемпионата мира по спортивному ушу Таolu, Daoshu мужчины. The medals will be presented by Executive Board Member of the International Wushu Federation. Flowers, certificates and mascots will be presented by
Welcome back to the 14th World Wushu Championships in Kazan, Russia. And as you can see, we're just about ready for the medal ceremony for day 2 of the Taolu mats. And it has been a great day of Taolu on these mats, I can tell you. Self and Anthony Chen have been watching mat 1, and that was the field of play for the men's Daoshu and the women's Qiangshu. And Mario Martinez and Alan Tang were watching field of play 2, mat 2, for the women's Nanquan and the men's Nanquan. And what we're going to see first is the men's Daoshu ceremony. These, of course, the VIPs, and that would be the Singaporean Siwei Joanne Lim, that's right, who scored a 9.65. Hot on his heels, of course, was Ahmed Huleifi with a 9.64. But once again, Anthony, we just point out that these 43 competitors that took part in the men's Daoshu all scored very highly indeed.
Exactly, very high, very competitive, very strong athletes today.
Now this, of course, was probably the story from men's Daoshu, in that Edgar Xavier Marvello picked up silver. We're just going to be getting to him. There he is now. So 2 Indonesians in the top 4 is already great news for Indonesia. Ahmed, of course, Huleifi picked up a silver yesterday, so it's another silver medal for Indonesia as well. He gets the official mascot of the 14th WWC certificate, and of course the silver medal and flowers. It's always nice that everyone gets flowers at medal ceremonies. It's great. It is. And with the gold medal, and this is of course the latest in a line of gold medals, Zhifeng Li, 9.72. That was a great performance from him, right?
Yeah, very outstanding. Through 1.720, very strong 540, very powerful.
It was just effortless though, the way he went through the 720 as well.
Right.
You could see the difference the flowers made just there. Just, you know, it was a certificate, it was a gold medal. I love that stuff, but thanks for the flowers. Zhifeng Li, gold in the men's Daoshu.
Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the national anthem.
And now, of course, the national anthem for China. As we look at the confirmation of the medals, China, Indonesia, and Singapore. Well done to all 3 medalists in the men's Daoshu. Wonderful competition, high level, and these were the 3 that came out of it. We were saying earlier that China historically has just won the most medals anyway at the World Wushu Championships. Well, they just had another one on now with the men's Daoshu. So up next should be the women's Qiangshu, which we just watched. That was a great competition as well.
Yeah, very close at the top, with the top 2 people being 9.64 and 9.63.
That's right, that was just 0.01. One single mistake, essentially. And that's one minor mistake has separated it. I have heard stories, of course, of, I think everyone has heard the stories of some of the great times in Wushu history. The times of Wusong and Jet Li, when apparently there was just one toe that was pointed the wrong way, and that was the difference between gold and silver. But that's what it can come down to. And just getting ready now for the women's Qiangshu. We'll be back with that in just a minute.
14-го чемпионата мира по спортивному Wushu Taolu, Qiangshu, женщины.
So here come the medalists for the women's Qiangshu.
Will be presented by Giuseppe Falconi, honorary executive board member of the International Wushu Federation. Flowers, certificates, and mascots will be presented by Igor Greger, vice president
Our
of the
VIPs
Wushu Federation.
from the federation itself, the IWUF. Very honored to have them here, of course. And I'm sure they would have enjoyed the competitive element and the high level of competition.
Bronze medalist representing Japan.
So bronze medal goes to Keiko Yamaguchi, sorry, who was the first competitor onto the mat. 9.56, and that actually lasted out the whole way to get a bronze. Of course, she was in the lead for a while. And martial fist, the official greeting of Wushu. Not really official, I suppose historical more than anything else. But I do know what that symbolizes, is the power and the control on top of it. I think it's a wonderful way to greet people.
That's correct, called Bao Chun Li.
So in silver, another shining performance from the Korean team.
Very effortless performance by Hiju So. 9.63.
Yeah, it was really good. 9.63, as you said. So close to getting gold. It was literally the distance that you just saw on your screen just then between the two competitors within the results that has differentiated silver and gold today. 9.63 and a 9.64. And that is, as we just said, a minor movement.
Representing Vietnam. Золотой медаль и звание чемпионки мира завоевала представительница Вьетнама Wei Binh.
And after a very good year, Thio Vy Dong from Vietnam picks up the gold, 0.01 ahead of Hiju Xiao with a 9.64.
Very well deserved, very confident performance.
Yeah, she was completely in control that time, it's true. Would you say it was a surprise that she's come through? She was one of the favorites, of course.
She was definitely one of the favorites. I wasn't too surprised, but she was definitely going to be top 3.
So now the national anthem for Vietnam. So our 3 medalists from the women's Qiangshu.
see they're very happy right now.
Absolutely. Now, coming up next, of course, were the medal ceremonies for the two competitions that happened on mat 2 that was watched by Mario Martinez and Alan Tang. That's women's Nanquan and the men's Nanquan. And we'll have those for you just as soon as those ceremonies are set up. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, the 14th World Wushu Championships victory ceremony for Taolu, Nanquan women. Церемония награждения 14-го чемпионата мира по спортивному.
And here are those medal ceremonies as promised for the men's Nanquan and the women's Nanquan. It looks like we're going to start off with the women's Nanquan.
The medals will be presented by Qiangshu, Honorary Executive Board Member of the International Wushu Federation. Flower certificates and mascots will be presented by Igor Kramer, Vice President of the Russian Wushu Federation. Медали вручает Qiangshu, почетный член исполнительного комитета Международной Федерации Wushu. Цветы, сертификаты и
VIPs getting lined up for the medal ceremonies.
Bronze medalist representing Hong Kong.
And this was a very close competition as well. Jian Xinhe from Hong Kong with a 9.62. Of course, the biggest story of the day is going to be coming up just after this. And that is that Russia, after getting a bronze in yesterday's men's Nanquan, have also picked up a better medal in the women's Nanquan, and that is a silver. We'll be seeing that in just a second, and I'm sure there's going to be great support. I can actually see most of the Russian team and a lot of fans already waiting for that down at the bottom. But let's not take away from the bronze for Jian Xinhe. Here we go. Fantastic performance, a 9.65 from Tatiana Ivshina. And another medal for Russia. And those are the fans here in Kazan, Russia, have stayed for the medal ceremonies. Very proud moment indeed for the host nation. And by the looks of it, a very emotional moment, it must be. And I did say that China were racking up the golds. Well, how about this, Anthony? It's another gold for China.
And here's a third gold.
They just pretty much produce golds when they come to the World Wushu Championships. Hu Ying-chen, 9.69, has won her the women's Nanquan. So there's confirmation of our gold medal winner. And a summary of all the medals so far. There's the list: China, Russia, Hong Kong, and of course the national anthem of China. So congratulations once again to our 3 medal winners from the women's Nanquan competition on day 2 of the 14th World Wushu Championships here in Kazan, Russia. Big round of applause for them. One more medal ceremony still to come, and that is the men's Nanquan. And we'll be back with that in just a second.
Дамы и господа, церемония награждения 14-го чемпионата мира по спортивному Wushu, Taolu, Nanquan, мужчины. Ladies and gentlemen, the 14th World
So here we go, the men's Nanquan ceremony, and Anthony, these 3 are the usual suspects when it comes to this kind of thing, right?
You're correct. These are seasoned veterans. They've all been on this podium before. It looks like they're just trading spots.
But it is, of course, a good medal for Malaysia. You can just see that Malaysian top there.
The medals will be presented by Urs Krebs, Treasurer of the International Wushu Federation. Flowers, certificates and mascots will be presented by Igor Kremer, Vice President of the Russian Wushu Federation.
So here we have 2 VIPs, Russian Wushu Federation, Vice President, and IWUF Treasurer.
Well, the Russian Wushu Federation has done great things over the last few years, of course. It's a pretty big federation, right?
Right.
So here we go. The bronze medal going to Youngmun Lee, another medal for Korea. That's a 9.61.
We were saying earlier, the Koreans had a very strong showing in all carpets, both 1 and 2.
Yeah.
All very close to the top.
Well, the great thing about Korean sport, and especially their athleticism, is not just their athleticism and their skills, but they have a great team dynamic. And you usually see them almost a bit like the Chinese team in the level that they set themselves. The bar that they set themselves is really big. So
right, equally high amongst themselves.
Yeah. Now this is going to be great news, I can tell you, for...
And there we have Malaysia.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you now, I said I've met the Malaysian team before, and I have met Man Hua Ho as well. But it's great to see them here on the world stage. There's a lot of effort that gets put in the Malaysian Wushu Federation. And I said I've done a lot of reporting for the international networks on, especially with the run-up to the SEA Games, especially which was held in Malaysia this year. But they've always held their own, the Malaysian Wushu team. That's a good silver medal for them.
Representing Chinese Taipei. Золотой медаль и звание чемпиона мира завоевал представитель китайского.
For gold, we got Ho Wei Lai with a 9.65.
That's a pretty good score from Chinese Taipei. All veterans, as you said. So we have Korea taking the bronze, Malaysia taking the silver, and Chinese Taipei taking the gold. And that concludes the day 2 results. From the 4 disciplines that we've seen. And now, of course, the national anthem of Chinese Taipei. If you look at the summary there, Chinese Taipei, Malaysia and Korea with gold, silver and bronze.
There's Moon Hua Ho saluting.
So that brings to a close the Taolu mats for day 2. It's been a wonderful afternoon of competition. Don't forget, of course, that the Sanda competitions will be continuing in the evening, so watch out for the live streams for that. Tony Sims and Robin Black will be in the commentary box for that. Right now, I'd just like to thank Anthony. Thanks for coming in, mate. Thanks for joining us again.
Well, thank you again, Jeevan.
Looking forward to another day of Taolu tomorrow, and we urge you guys, of course, to join us here in the afternoon for yet more from these wonderful purple Taolu mats. For me right now, it's goodbye. We'll catch you guys tomorrow.
все вместе. Давайте. Раз, два, три. Hello! Ну, в принципе, неплохо. Что ж, совсем скоро я к вам вернусь, пока внимание. На экран мы посмотрим презентационный ролик нашего 14-го чемпионата мира по Wushu в Казани.
Да, есть стоит. Они нажали на это.